Greetings! And once more we are in the Ninth World this week. Doing more of this. I did not have time this week to go back and read through a bunch of stuff in the log, so I haven't gotten into the deep details, but I think we're still good for now. It's been a heck of a week. Had a lot going on, and still sort of recovering, trying to get all of the get everything together, I guess. Just sort of get all of the things into their various requisite slots as life happens, and we once again silence everything while we go to other windows and do things real quick here. Because I just realized I hadn't posted the social media stuff, but I had them prepped this time, so there we are. So yeah, lots going on this week, but I think I'm ready to start the weekend now, and we will start with this. See how things are going in the Ninth World. Okay. If an enemy is armored, change up the damage type of your attacks with abilities or ciphers to overcome it. Okay. I haven't fought anyone yet. We'll kind of see what's happening. So apparently, we're down here with these levies. I believe that's the captain of the levies. And we had this nice chat about that. I realized I'd have to bring the clerk a badge to demonstrate that I'm a city official. So we're going to have to deal with that soon. Yeah, another thing that I would like to do. Got to switch to a window over here. There we go. Okay, good. All right. Okay. Are you almost done, it says? No, I don't know. I don't know when I'll be done. There's this weird fountain that we should probably go and poke with a stick. Yeah. Another levy here. There's an nano. There's a nano. Statue. Banner.
Standing around is kind of nice. Relaxing.
I'm glad you think so. Yes, you. Would you please tell my colleague she doesn't know what she's talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. My esteemed colleague is with respect and ass. Yeah, that's how these things happen. City official. It's my job to inspect the levees. Gods know they won't report broken equipment on their own. Nope. Still trying to figure out how the levees work, because it's like you give up a year of your life and then that gets turned into, it's like there's this shadow version of you that gets turned into a levy, I guess? It's interesting. Here, let's play in the fountain. The fountain is constructed of material that seems halfway between wood and stone. It doesn't contain water, as might be expected. Instead, it's filled with swarming tiny fish-like creatures that leap and cavort in a wriggling mass, chattering to each other in what sounds like 1,000 different tongues. So we could try catching one, or listening to what they're saying, or examine the fountain. Let's listen. You fold your arms, listening intently to the fish jabber at each other. It sounds like a cloud of nonsense syllables mashed into baby speak. Ah! A few oft-repeated sounds tug at your memory until something unravels. Yes. You stand before a rusty intelligence terminal surrounded by crooked ruins. Laying unfamiliar hands against the cracked glass, you speak words in all the languages you know. This takes some time. The terminal awakens at the sound of an ancient guttural greeting. You recognize it immediately as one of the words the fish-like creatures are babbling cheerfully at each other. Ah, interesting. Spend more time listening. Fish-like creatures continue to either gibber or gibber, depending on which side of the room you're standing. There's an argument. A song of melodic syllables and broken words. Okay. Let's examine the fountain. The fountain, now that you're looking at it, is unfathomably old. Coppery tongue-like decorations curl up and over the rim of the structure as if lapping at the endless stream of creatures within. You know, we probably should have tried to catch one of the creatures while we were in Anamnesis, but too late. Let's see. I have a 20% chance. You have a 20% chance. You have a 55% chance. You or a companion now have Edge in one of your stat pools, granting you a discount on using points from that stat pool. Yay. Each level of Edge grants one free level of effort, boosting your minimum chance of success. When using an ability, Edge reduces the activation cost first, and any leftover points are used for effort. I'm kind of glad that they were able to port so much of the system into this. So evidently, he has an edge on this, which is why he's already up to 55%. And we will spend some of his effort because that is how we're going. Nope, failed. You thrust your hand into the slimy mass of creatures, but easily slide through your fingers. Okay, let's not worry about that. We're going to leave the fountain alone. Okay. Let me check my map here. Area map. Okay. Red Thicket, which we are going to want to visit probably. I think we've already explored over this way, so we could go. We continue our clockwise motion, go up here and around, and that would probably help. See, Order of Truth is right over there. The ladder to the underbelly is right over there. So either of those will be helpful. Let us swing around. I think primarily I'm wanting to see if there are more opportunities to make monies and salvage things before we just hand over most of our cash for a boot with a badge in it. What's this? It's pretty. Looks like a gateway.
Let's go.
Towering above you is an enormous archway of metal and synth. Here, let me actually show you. Let's see. Let me put myself in the upper right for this one. Okay. Energy pulses through the structure, spilling from thin, transparent panels in subtle shades of gold and cyan. Examine the archway more closely. Sure. It appears to be dormant, but very much alive. The archway emits a low and constant hum just at the edge of your hearing. Across the top, illuminated words are inscribed, "The House of Empty Time." Heavy rope-like cables connect the archway to the strange generator nearby. I have a feeling this is something significant. Not as impenetrable as it looks, mutters Halligan. The real work is being done by the generator there. He points to the ancient device that's connected to the archway by a number of cables. Someone channeled the temporal energies to achieve some purpose of their own. It's a hack job. It must have been an Eon priest. He grins wickedly. Yeah, have you studied this before? Once or twice years ago. It was here long before I came to Sagus. Used to hear stories about children disappearing when they walked under the arch, but I never saw it happen myself. Huh. Let's examine it. Appears to be dormant now. It's like constant hum. Rope-like cable connected to the ancient device. I mean, I want to go and look at that other device. Well, let's try to activate it because we can. You scan parts of the arch that are accessible from the ground, but you don't see anything that resembles a control device. Finally, you give up your search. If the arch can be activated at all, the method is unclear. Mystical lore. Perhaps it could only be activated by the words of its creator, or someone designated by that person. Such things are not unknown in the Ninth World. Okay. Let us now take a look.
Fine.
What's over there as we pass under the archway? Power still flows through this ancient machine. A brassy heartbeat pulses within it just at the edge of hearing, and tiny bubbles orbit the entire structure. No, not bubbles. Holes in space! Oh, cool. That's what those are. The generator combines a huge number of mismatched parts into a functional whole. Once again, you notice the circunet. Circunet. I will say Circunet until such time as I decide to say something else. You notice the Circunet symbol etched into the side like a maker's mark. Yeah. Same deal. Let's look through the holes. You lock your eyes on a hole, watching it orbit. Sometimes the buildings it passes in front of are still there. Sometimes they're on fire. Most of the time, however, nothing lies beyond the hole in the air but blackened wastes and whirling dust. You do it again. A sizzling beam shoots out of the hole and strikes you dead in the eye. It doesn't hurt in the slightest. Instead, your mind is briefly filled with the mouth-watering image of a slab of grilled something and the chummy tones of an advertiser's sales pitch in a language you don't recognize. Grilled something. Yes, we must keep doing that. Oh, hey, look! You step too close and one of the anomalies hisses past your hip like a disc made of razors. One of your pouches feels heavier. It seems the anomaly has left you a present. A cyclonic cube. What is it? Light moves strangely through. Wah! It's an oddity. And it's valuable. Moves strangely through this glass cube, forming square patterns of blue and purple colors. I would like to use it, but I am not going to because it is worth ridiculous amounts of money. Leave the generator alone. Let's quit while we're ahead before it does damage to us. Nice. Wandering up this way for just a moment. Notice there's this interesting door here, but no way through it apparently, as it will not recognize anything on the mouse. Cool.
It's a plan.
It is a plan, apparently. So, quite obviously,
Let's go.
I could sell that thing off, and you can see that's the way down to... That's the way into the Order of Truth, and presumably that's the way down to the underbelly. Merchant, wealthy townsperson. Before I go and talk to them, before I go and talk to them, let me switch over to upper left. There we go. We've been in negotiations with this mad visitant for over 3 hours. We're trying to reach an agreement on spice prices. Our Vigellan friend is being difficult. An outsider. Good. I seek clarification of a strange matter. Okay. These humans set a higher price on Amrita before they sought a trade agreement with me. They've now lowered their prices to catch my interest. Is this not dishonest? Yes. But, also everyone does it. I've asked them to apologize for their flagrant manipulation of prices. They have refused. This is a frustrating affair. I wish to be done with it. If I have to hear it explain ethics one more time, I'll hurl myself off a cliff. What in the world is unethical about price adjustment, I ask you? We are trying to reach an agreement on spice prices. Our Vigellan friend is being difficult. I don't know if there's a way to actually resolve this, because this is, yeah. What can I try? Oh, yeah, same thing. Yeah. And now my head aches. Yeah. Our Vigellans are so tiresome. Frustrating affair. No, nothing we can do. Sorry. We're not going to help you. You are not, because they did not write enough dialogue for you. There's more wealthy townspersons is... Well, it's about to... Oh, you're not the guide, are you? Damn. Climont is my dearest friend, but exhausting nearly all the time. Press and I hired a guide to take on a hunting expedition. Yet to show his face. Today she's taking me hunting. Yesterday it was ruin diving. Literally. Alright, set on hunting for dinner tonight. Scant chance of that now. Oh, last night wringing salt water and bloody tentacles out of my hair. Yeah, sometimes you have nights like that. This rate will be better off storming the underbelly and collecting rodents in a sack. I love Clemon dearly, but her absolute lust for dangerous adventures is wearying at best. Yeah, these things happen. What's this? That way lets you leave the area. But to where? That is a good question. That goes to Caravanserai. Huh. Alright. I have forgotten. There's meaning attached to that, but I've forgotten what that meaning is.
On it.
Okay, down here we have townspeople and ambassadors and dignitaries. And Ayin, who knows? And a glaive. And someone named Irathor Bren. Okay. Alright, I have a feeling there's dialogue on the horizon, so I'm going to save the game. This is where we left off. Yeah, let's go ahead and save over that. Okay, let's make a circuit round this way. Here, Thorbren. This slim man looks to be in good shape, and though his face remains hidden within his hood, he carries himself with confidence. Confidente. Let's go here for this. His clothing exudes something like smoke that makes him look a bit like a ghost, perhaps a man who can't be found if he doesn't want to be. Irathor Bren, or Irathor Bren, or Irathor Bren. Who knows? Pleasure. I'm a merc, head of the Ianthine Spectre Company. What brings you to the thicket? He sees something in your expression. First timer, huh? Well, whatever we talk about here can't be overheard. Someone tries to read our lips, they get gibberish. He crosses his arms. Good place to talk business, in other words, if that's what you're here for. Tell me about the Ianthine Spectre Company. We do infiltration, mostly, he says with a smoothness that implies he's given this speech before. Sabotage, assassinations, assorted hostile recovery. Sometimes the city hires us to handle local threats, problematic tribes, roaming predators, you name it. He chuckles. Pretty quiet these days, not like when we started. Our first big job was a series of assaults in the endless battle. He looks familiar, that tattoo especially. Can't think why I'd know him, though. What's the endless battle? Really? He says, cocking an eyebrow. Alright, it's basically like it sounds. A fight that's given people like me a solid payday for more generations than anyone could count. He shrugs. As far as I heard, it's a scrap between rival factions of the Changing Gods cast-offs. What about, I couldn't tell you. He cracks a grin. Getting interested in the why of a war always ends up being bad for business. That's not good. That's something that sounds like that directly involves me. What did you do in the endless battle? Can't say, he says automatically. Contracts. You understand. All I can tell you is the Chalcedon pays on time, and that's more than I can say for some of the employers I've had over the years. For some of the employers I've had over the years. He sighs. One of the best jobs we've ever had. Who's it, Chalcedon? One of the commanders of the Changing Gods, on the Changing Gods side, he says, pays well and on time, and that's the extent of my opinion on the matter. Now my turn for questions. It's not just the tattoo that gives you away. I know you, don't I? Where from? We fight together? Fight each other? What is it? His hand drops to a pocket near his hip. Tell the truth now, I'll know if you're lying. His thoughts don't tell me anything. I'll have to try the direct approach. Let's give that a shot. I refilled, so I don't want to go all that far down, but I have a feeling this might be helpful, so we will do it. Success. You focus on the man, his features, and open your mind. Can we trust them? You hear yourself say, your voice muted by the ears. They're mercenaries, your companion replies. Of course we can't. That's not what I meant, you snap. Can we trust them to finish the work? If not, kill them now. There's no time for uncertainty. Yay! Thorbrand, you return to the present just in time to hear Thor speak again. Well, you're going to tell me how we know each other or not? I don't want to answer this question. I have no idea. Can you read my thoughts? Let's not address the elephant here. Instead, we'll just say this. I was also in the endless battle. Say no more, he says, raising a hand. Should have known, with that tattoo and all. My curiosity does get the better of me. Okay, now we can say this. Can you read my thoughts? He barks a loud laugh. The only way you'd know that is if you could read mine, too. Useful skill, isn't it? Most of the time, anyway. What's your company doing in Sagus? Negotiations, he says shortly. Negotiations. I'm between meetings with a few council representatives. They may want us for some ongoing work. He shows his teeth. Bit of a bidding war going on right now, to be honest. We're in demand. As long as all sides are interested, the strongest will prevail, as it should be. Okay. Well, there we go. Wasted two perfectly good intellect points on him. Random NPCs. Hello, I'll be with you in a moment. No, you won't. You lie. You mind? I'm having a serious conversation with my doctor. I'd you discuss my wares, my line of specialty products. I am. What are they? I sell, shall we say, restoratives, rejuvenators, powders of a specific nature. I also do a brisk business in prosthetics of all shapes, colors, and flavors. Do come back anytime. Yeah, okay. Let's talk to this ambassador. Not now, please. Okay, fine.
Of course.
Can't hear a thing I'm saying to my colleague here, can you? Yes, I hear everything. I'm afraid you caught the two of us acting like children. Oh. Really, this red thicket of yours is marvelous. Your red thicket brings out the worst in the two of us, it seems. We haven't gotten 10 seconds of business done since we entered this place. Aw. The honored ambassador and I are making noises at each other. My companion keeps making repulsive noises as loud as he can. No one reacts. Okay. Yeah, okay, yes, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Alright, here we go. Ayin, who knows? This woman's expression defies easy definition. It is cool and professional, but focused, interested. She nods at you and clasps her hands. One of her eyebrows arches suddenly. You're trying to scan my thoughts. You won't find anything in my mind, of course. It could be undone by so simple a trick, I'd be out of business. If I could be undone by so simple a trick, I'd be out of business. She flicks the air near her shoulder, though nothing is there. It's a useful skill nonetheless. People's best secrets are rarely found on the surface, but their thoughts can guide you if you listen. I expect you and I will have much to talk about. So much dialogue. Okay. Time to climb another dialogue tree. Have you come to trade? I can't read your thoughts, but can you read mine? Yes, let's be paranoid. No, she gives you a reassuring smile. If I could, I'd have no need to trade now, would I? Don't worry, I'm a broker, not a thief. Trade what? I am a knowledge broker, she says, a hunter of information. Come to me with questions, and if I have answers, I will trade them. She straightens further and blinks once, managing to make the simple action look as though it was planned in advance. Okay. My pricing is simple. A secret for a secret. The only condition is that it must be one I do not already know, and I should warn you that I know a great deal. How do I know you won't claim? Yeah, that's my first thought, too. Yeah, I don't share secrets. Fair deal. How do I know you won't claim to know a secret you've never heard before? A fair question. If she is offended, she doesn't show it. I don't bother with assurances. You can either judge my honesty yourself or take your business elsewhere. What's the catch? Blue tide. Well spotted, she says. There is one, of course, but it is hardly unexpected. Anything you choose to tell me will, of course, be traded to others in due time. A rare, slight smile graces her lips. In short, if you wish to keep something a secret, don't tell it to me. Why don't you trade these secrets directly to the people involved? Okay. A number of reasons, she says, but chiefly this. I am a broker, not a blackmailer. Okay. I don't know. I might have better, more relevant secrets for her later, and I don't want to tell her things about me. However, let's see where the dialogue tree goes. I am interested in exchanging secrets. Good, she says simply. What information do you need? See, I think we're going to find... I don't want to... Yeah, let's do this first one, because that gives me more control over what's happening, if it is permitted. Agreed, she says. What do you offer? See, secrets about myself, secrets about Sagus Cliffs. Yeah, let's not trade secrets about ourselves, because that could lead to our ruin. Sagus Cliffs, on the other hand. Of course, she says, if I don't already know them, of course. I don't have them right now. Yeah, that's the thing, is that... it's tricky. Actually, let's talk about a different kind of secret. Let me see what this says. Some secrets about myself. It might. What can you tell me? Lie! I'm the changing god. No. I was the falling star. I'm a cast-off. So, the safest of those, I think, to reveal is being a cast-off, because I think a number of folks have recognized that. She might know that already, actually, in which case, telling her isn't going to... I mean, just sort of by looking. Yeah, I think enough people have seen that by looking. I might be able to trade that. Do we want to? Yeah, because we know that someone else is going to learn this in time, if they are looking for cast-offs, but thus far there hasn't been any evidence of that, so I think we're going to go ahead and reveal that. Yes, she says you are. The tattoo was a giveaway. What else do you have? Never mind, I don't want to trade a secret. I see, very well. Very well, yeah. We might have something later if we have secrets about Sagus Cliffs. There's a face down there. But not right this moment. Okay. So, I think we have completely mapped this area. Yep. I mean, not that little bit, but, where do you stand to make that work? So, yeah, now one must decide if one wishes to trade a cube for monies. So let's go out here.
All right.
Oh, I can hear again. Yay. I'm going to save one more time. Don't think I've lost anything, so I'm just going to save over here. I've lost a couple of points, but yeah, it's alright. Are you sure it's alright? Yes, it's fine. Okay. Now, the thing about oddities, he says, going back to the cube, is that in the tabletop game, you can they're not one-use things, right? So you can use them over and over again. I'd like to see what happens when I use the item. I may have to restore afterward, though, if this game chooses to consume it when that happens. Let's find out. Translucent panes spin behind the smooth glass of the cube, often defying the dimensions containing them. You catch glimpses of various objects or scenes contained within. You clear your throat involuntarily, and the pace of the spinning goes even faster, as though the cube were waiting for you to speak or ask a question. So much Matt Kina. What are you? The cube goes utterly opaque for several seconds before the panes reappear. Alright, looking for someone named Matt Kina. The spinning panes within the cube slow, then halt entirely, revealing a single image at the center of the cube. A freshly baked pastry, mounded with cream and glossy fruit, held within 2 cupped hands. Okay. I've forgotten why I'm looking for Matt Kina, but it's in there. It'll be in the journal, probably. Let's see. So, a pastry, somewhere near a pastry stand. You've either received the exact answer to your question through an idiom you have no hope of grasping, or the cube completely misunderstood you. Can't you tell me anything about Matt Kina? Spinning pages go slow, halt entirely, revealing a single image. A city floating in the air, unsupported by even the wispiest of clouds. Okay. Is that going to be the same thing if I ask them again? A 13-legged insect pinned by the edge of a book. I have a feeling either these are images from her life, or an eyeless fish springing from a cobblestone well. Huh. These could be random images. A bowl of black fluid on a round glass table. Bucket filled to the brim with dead grass and gems. There are a lot of things here. Let's ask a different question. Who am I? A sleek, furry creature biting its own paw. Why is this arrow hunting me? A rust-speckled construct struggling to crawl from a pile of rotting cloth. I don't understand what you're trying to tell me. Can you explain? And it's a perfect sphere of dark chocolate held in a bird's claw. Yeah, I think that it's just, you know... Cube goes opaque. It doesn't want to answer that question. I don't know that these are also answers to, Who am I again? No image. Can you tell me anything about Matt Kina? No answer. Are you broken? From the dizzying depths of the cube, you hear your questions. All of them echoed back to you. The smell of burning sand coats the back of your throat. A number emerges from the spiral of pains and light. 9. You ask 9 questions. Apparently you don't get any more. The stench of roasting sand surges, tickling your nostrils, but you receive no other response after shaking the cube. You receive no answer. Okay, yeah, we've used it up. Okay, I'm gonna put the cube away. Just want to check real quick to see if it has still got the same value to it. Yes, it does. So, having used this cube up, I think now we're going to sell it. Because then that way we can get further on this quest. So, the decision now is if we want to do the quest or if we want to explore elsewhere first. Let me check in the journal real quick. Okay. Cold calculating jack. Apparently cast-off helped the resonance. Okay, that's the other cast-off we're looking for. Okay, that's who Matt Kina is. Pale-skinned and very dangerous. The White Death. Was recently sighted in the underbelly, so she's probably down there. Okay. Cliff's Edge. That's where that slave is. There's a book we're looking for. 5-colored sigil on its cover. So, yeah, that's a thing where we grab a badge. Also, it might be possible to rally the spectators to watch us if I'm persuasive enough. Or, you know, we could find a way to release that that floating thing. That would distract them. Search for the Sorrow's latest victim at the Dendra Uhur chapel. Selfie told me the victim's body was taken away by the Dendra Uhur, probably to their chapel in the underbelly. A lot of things we could be doing right now. Also, I mean, there are those thought-catching ciphers that are being sold down there that we could also potentially grab if we wanted to. It's an interesting idea. Because I think one of them might help the sculptor. But I mean, we should probably find this information first. It's interesting. It's interesting, and I mean, one of them might help us to remember things. Get an XP. Okay. Anything major I need to look up? Well, there's stuff in here. So many things. The Nycthemeron, yes, that's the thing that we're thinking about doing something terrible with. Alright. Let's go here. I would like to see what you have to sell. I have a cyclonic cube for you. Because I need the money. Yay. Okay, now that I've done that, look, you could buy that cloak. No, don't do that. Stay on point here. Welcome back, sir. Honored to serve you again. What can I do for you? I've forgotten what voice I was doing. I was doing voices last time. Sure you can't send me a city badge? Positively. As I said before, I would be breaking the law if I did. Far too risky. Just been made. The letter hasn't come through yet. Laughs off. Friend, you are no city official. Those questions you asked me betray your ignorance. I bet you know I simply give you a city official's badge. What would it take to make you take the risk? The boots are 80 shins. The extra buckle is free of charge. That sounds like a reasonable price for boots. Very good, sir. I'll wrap them up for you. You'll find the extra buckle in the left boot. Red boots. Plain red leather boots. When you touch them, a wave of sadness and disgust at the greed of humanity repulses you. You can't even consider wearing them. See, they're not even a cipher, really.
Updated my journal.
Is that all for today? Can I interest you in our fine collection of armor, perhaps? Let me see. Now that I've been around asking... Yeah. Council clerk. There's a fellow with hands everywhere, and I mean that quite literally. He takes care of all the council's documents and has his papers and documents stored in 100 places all over town, but can pluck them from the air around him at will. Have you heard of Ayin Who Knows? They say she knows everything, but that's a lie. She doesn't know how to dress herself, that's for certain. I've offered to help her, but she won't come in my shop. Says I'm too expensive. Last time she was here, she told a customer about my faded Avatrol hides. Never again. Alcanperia, we already had a conversation, but let me refresh that. Shurjan enjoys free clothes. One of my best customers keeps personal business to herself. Okay. So many things we could be doing here. Okay, farewell. Please do come again. Boots. Quest items. Badge of office. There we go. It's inscribed with the seal of the Protectorate. Here. You have no shame. Would you like a pair of boots? Ornament, weapon, body. Actually, no. No, I'll hold on to them and then sell them again. Because I can. I don't have a cloak, which I should probably think about getting at some point. How many monies do we have currently? 135. Okay, good to know. Alright, just wanted to make sure that I had figured all that out. Okay. Now, we could go to enact the next part of the plan, which is go to the government official, the council tower, and at council tower, and show the badge and get that done. Caravanserai, Order of Truth, ladder. Doing stuff. All right.
Let's go.
Let's have another little chat with the council clerk. What is it this time? I'd like to talk about paperwork. In order to put a stop to a wrongful punishment, I need the stay of execution issued for Cole Carden, or I am a special liaison from the Judicial Oversight Committee, and I need to inspect a stay of execution for Cole Carden. There are concerns of corruption. So it's either persuasion or deception. Let me actually look at something real quick. I just want to look real quick to see what the plan was. An old stay of execution. Now that I have the badge of city official, I can try to obtain an old stay of execution from the council if anyone wants a copy of the document that pardoned a notorious gangster, Cole Carden. Yeah, okay. Alright, I guess we're going to try deception here. I have a 35% chance natively. 35. 60. You don't have much effort left. But, well, we'll give this a try. It's your quest after all. I'm going to use up your points. Okay. Stat pools on effort restored. Spent on it. Oh. Critical success. Hey, awesome. The clerk hesitates for a moment, then shrugs. It happens that the letter was consigned to destruction by year's end anyway, given the confirmation of Carden's demise. With a snap of his fingers, a letter appears, and he looks it over. Yes, here we are. Quite the criminal he was, and no slouch in treason. But who am I to question the clemency of our peerless council? He hands it to you with a slight sniff. Tiber. Let me check it for errors, Tiber snaps with an angry look at the clerk. Of course, I shouldn't have to, but we wouldn't be here today if a mistake hadn't been made by someone in a position of authority. Letter of pardon. Let's get the details before it gets taken away from us. You acquired this letter of pardon from the council clerk, grants a stay of execution for a criminal named Cole Carden. Principal crime appears to have been treason. Paper is old and looks like it's passed through many hands. Certainly illegitimate. You delightful maniac. Why are you provoking him? Here? We're doing this here? I'm not comfortable with this. You delightful maniac. I think, actually, yeah, I don't want to... Yeah, let's, Yeah, I don't want to... All three of these are going to give us away if we're saying it right here next to the guy. This one might not. I think we're going to get along well, you and I. You delightful maniac. You feel him writing something on the document, presumably Riss's name, before slipping it into your pouch and giving a polite little cough to catch the council clerk's attention. Everything appears to be in order, he says, mouth set in a stern line. I meant no offense, of course. Everything appears to be in order. Letter of pardon. Lost item, letter of pardon. Okay.
I'll remember that.
I'll remember that. Uh-oh. The clerk turns a single angry eye Tiber's way. Of course I understand, he says, his voice shaking. The eye moves to you. Do you have any other matters to discuss? I'm quite busy today. Farewell. Clerk gives no acknowledgement that he heard and merely continues with his work. Okay, there we go. That was interesting. Oh, okay, it was just the point that we spent that he got back. Alright. So now, we theoretically have a copy, a forged letter of pardon, which we can use to go and liberate Riss. I am thinking we may need Tiber to hang around a little bit longer. So before we go forth and do any of that, I think I want to go see the Order of Truth first. Okay. Should we just go on in? Yeah, shall I save again first? I will save again first. Yeah.
Ready.
Okay, here we go. Edge in each stat pool acts like a discount when using points from that pool. It grants free levels of effort, and then other things that we don't know what it says. Okay, over here, let us jump to upper left for now. Yeah, there's nowhere really good to hang out here because there's stuff everywhere. I don't know, lower right probably is our best bet right now even. Okay. So, here we are.
Of course.
What have we got? We've got a lot of things here. We've got a lot of people.
Yes.
I've been going clockwise everywhere, so... Giving you a chance to leave, you even failed that. Oh, Koro. Hello again. Don't you have somewhere else to be? Salamari and I are busy here. You recognize one of the parties in this one-sided argument. Koro, the Star Seeker you met in the reef. He studies his boots, silent and miserable. The other is a tall woman in finely cut robes, regarding the man with arch disdain. When I told you to retrieve the falling star, I wonder if you heard, "Return to me with empty hands and excuses," she sighs. I no longer need your services, Koro. Collect your things and go. What? No, Salamari, I searched the reef for hours. Whatever fell was long gone by the time we got there. And this is why you are unsuited for this work. She massages her eyes. Honestly, I don't know what I expected. I saw promise in you, but also the flaws, and I ignored them. She spots you out of the corner of her eye, and turns to you, framing a sharp rebuke at your intrusion. Her anger turns to stark amazement when she sees your face. Adan! I think that was a former name. Salamari, I haven't seen you in 10 years. 10 years! I cannot begin to imagine what your excuse might be. Our last night together was so incredible. What could possibly have driven him off? Oh boy. I am not done. I fell in love with someone else. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. Lie, 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 lie. So many lies. If you want an apology, you'll be waiting a long time. I became aware of plot against my life. I had to flee the city. I mean, that's true of Adan. I've been going through this being generally truthful, so I'm going to try to keep doing that. Also, I don't have the points to spend to lie convincingly. I don't know if I want to do this, tell the truth in front of Koro, but then again, it's kind of where we are, right? Yeah, it'll be obvious enough. Indigo tide. She blinks once, twice, a smile blooms. You're a cast-off, she murmurs, studying you from head to foot with an appraising and somewhat proprietary eye. Remarkable. This is rather like visiting a house you once owned and seeing new tenants through the windows. Indigo tide raised a tiny amount. I wish I knew what the different tides meant. Oh well. I know you can go in there and see what, it is currently, but who remembers that stuff? Anyway, I've met members of your little family before, of course, trailing around in that shadow, looking for clues or trying to repair the damage. Her smile is genuine and somewhat sad. Her eyes linger on yours as if looking for any flash of recognition. I can help you if you like, but I need something from you first. I think part of me wants to redo this game at some point later, and with a jack instead of a nano, and come through and just lie about everything and see how everyone reacts. Are we talking about romantic favors here? Why not? That sounds interesting. Doesn't it? She says. Well, it's a bit of a long pitch, so let me know when you're ready to talk it over. Yes, here, let's reference Allegaern. That'll help us. Let's talk about that favor. I have some questions about the Changing God. I'm trying to repair something called a resonance chamber. I have some questions about the Changing God. Good, she says. Curiosity about your origin is quite healthy. Her expression hardens. I will be happy to share what I know once you've completed that favor for me. Here we go. I'm trying to repair something called a resonance chamber. That contraption, she says. I'd be delighted to help, as I was before, but I'll need you to do that little favor for me first. Enter the anechoic lazaret and make it safe for me to resume my work there. She lowers her voice. If you seek assistance from the others in the order, do be careful. I suspect one of them is an informant for the Mamavra. Too many of our finds have been pillaged by her thugs. What's the Mamavra? Someone told me last time, but it's been a week and I forgot. The simple definition would be a crime lord in the bloom, but she is quite a bit more than that. In all ways that matter, she rules that tangled cesspit. And her spies are everywhere. Hang on. You think there's a spy in the Order of Truth? Almost certainly, she says, losing interest, but I let Min worry about that. Spies aren't a problem if you never share your secrets. I'm not great at keeping them under wraps. What do you do here, anyway? I study the ruins and remnants of past worlds, she says. When I have time, of course. These days the Order spends more of its time helping the city than on its own research. Okay. I'm helping Allegaern here with a problem. She can see him there, can't she? Seen a priest named Orthfang? Not recently, she says. Min may know where he is, however. She turns her attention to Allegaern. Amazing, she says. First you wander about in Adan's shadow, and now you're trailing after his cast-offs. It's a wonder you ever found time to be an Aeon priest. She affects a pained expression. Oh, my apologies. You quit, didn't you? I keep forgetting. I'm surprised you even know what an Aeon priest is, Allegaern growls. The Order of Truth is supposed to share knowledge. You hide it. With good reason, she says smoothly. The Order is full of spies, cutthroats, and imbeciles, none of them worth the risk. Okay. Let's talk about that favor you want. Of course. She draws your attention to a map of the Reef of Fallen Worlds on her workstation and taps a gilded ornate structure, not far from the dome containing the resonance chamber. Ah, I think I tried to get in there. This is the anechoic lazaret. It has been hopelessly sealed since the dawn of the Ninth World until, she smiles, I managed it in a week or two. It was quite simple once you figured out the trick. Ah! I've been slipping in and out at nights, investigating the technology within, taking notes, she frowns. Then more recently, I discovered that the structure was sealed again. Yep, we discovered that as well. Think one of your colleagues is responsible? I doubt it, she says. First of all, I haven't told them. The Order has been trying to open the lazaret for centuries, and I want it to myself for now. She rolls her eyes. Secondly, my colleagues are nosy and somewhat competitive in a charmingly amateuristic fashion, but none of them have the stones for out-and-out treachery. I believe someone tramped inside with no regard for the dangers and managed to trigger a failsafe that resealed the structure. She flicks a strand of hair from her eyes. I need someone to reopen the lazaret and, she waves a vague hand, handle whatever nonsense the trespassers have stirred up in their wake. Why not send Koro? Yes, let's drag Koro for a while. I suppose I could do that, she says. Koro stirs hopefully. If I wanted him dead by sundown and the entire structure looted by strangers, or aflame. She arches a cold eyebrow. Alternately, I could hire someone competent. Koro sags. Poor Koro. Besides, I can reopen the structure. The concern is what's waiting for me inside. She holds your gaze for a moment to make sure you understand. I want you to deal with whatever's gone wrong in there so I can resume my work. Needless to say, I would also prefer the structure in an undamaged state as I left it. She smooths her robes. Well, there it is. Will you help? I will if I have time. Yes, I will now. I will if I have time.
Making a note.
Of course, she says smoothly, but disappointment flashes across her face. She hands you a metallic stalk with flower-like ridges along its length and a mechanical eye at one end. Silver tide raised. A metallic eye. Metal stalk, mechanical eye at the end. It was given to you by Selimeri and can apparently be used as a key to enter the anechoic lazaret, a large golden structure in the Reef of Fallen Worlds. Okay. This, as you likely know, is the Eye of Amlax, and how I originally accessed the structure. The fact that the lazaret recognizes this organ as an authorized user implies that its builders were machine intelligences, maybe a machine civilization from before the dawn of the Ninth World. She smiles, brushing off her hands. Well, on your way. Do watch your step in the reef. It can be quite dangerous. Please, Selimeri, Koro says, edging in beside you. Give me another chance. I can handle this. I have to win her back. Her respect, I mean. Right, her respect. I don't work with amateurs. Say nothing. I'm trying Selimeri, why not? Yeah, I think he'd be useful. He shoots you a mistrustful glance, but otherwise continues pretending you don't exist. She says, looking between the two of you. Selimeri considers you both, then sorts through her work table, picking up a metallic eye. You're welcome to try, Koro, she says. She hands the eye over, but holds onto it when he tries to take it. This is your last chance. If you come back empty-handed, you had better be dead as well. Hard to come back after you've died, but it's the Ninth World. It could happen. Trembling, Koro pockets the eye and leaves, eyes downcast. Scan thoughts. I'll prove myself to her. Then she'll see me as more than just a mercenary. Aww. See, I have this terrible feeling we're sending him ahead to die. She watches him go inside. He's going to fail, of course. It's what he does best. I want to talk to you about the anechoic lazaret. Oh, she says, her face a carefully composed mask. What is it? What should I know about the interior? Is it dangerous? It wasn't, she says, but since I suspect someone or something got trapped inside, she shrugs slightly. Be careful, and do try to avoid breaking anything. Okay, what is it? I'm not quite ready to issue definitive answers on that topic, she says lightly. I suspect it was once a place of healing or quarantine for machine intelligences. Even if I'm wrong, this is the find of many, many lifetimes. Few remnants of the prior worlds are ever so intact. Okay. Anything else we want to talk about? No. We're good. Farewell. Perhaps I'll see you again. I have to wonder if I had said yes outright, if she would have been more kindly disposed to me. And I don't know. It's she was disappointed.
On it.
I didn't really want to fully commit because I don't know if I can trust anybody here. Min is the person that I was told to speak to.
My way.
But first, let's explore the rest of this place.
Naturally.
Ah, here we are. Castellage. Because I knew she was here. Maybe she's the spy. She's totally the spy. Order of Truth. Hello, remember me.
You're still traveling with the ambling mood dampener. Good. One shouldn't become too ebullient.
Yeah, you know. Handful of words, and you've reminded me how grateful I am not to see you every day. And I you, Aligarn. Indeed, the sum happiness of my sisters is improved dramatically. Now, Castoff, if you wish to speak to me, I'll need you to retain my sunny disposition, by which I mean lose this wretch if you want me more amenable to your words. Aww. There's a thing there. I want to poke it. We'll do that later. Oh, wait. Let's poke this first. A small wireframe pyramid sits on a base of polished wood. Lying inside the pyramid is a dull sphere of silverish metal. Let's examine everything. Suspended in its wire cage, the sphere is almost perfectly sized to fit your palm. To fit in your palm. The gaps in the wiry mesh are large enough for you to reach through, though not large enough to pull the sphere out. Let's examine everything first before we touch anything. The frame appears to be fixed firmly in place. It's constructed of an organic material grown in a manner similar to bone or coral. Thinner, vein-like strands of the material... Okay, hang on. Let me make sure I'm actually interpreting this as I'm reading it. Organic material grown in the manner of bone or coral. Thinner, vein-like strands of the material wind across each of the triangular sides. Something strikes you as odd about it, but you can't quite determine why. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. And let's see here. So you're kind of perceptive. You're kind of perceptive. You're kind of, yeah. So I have 6 right now. And I would go down to 4. What is that, 70%? He is at 6 right now. We could use up so much on this. An awesome chance of figuring this out. Of course, we might need him if we're going to fight something. Ah! Try as you might, you failed to discern anything more about the frame. Okay. The base appears to be made from a slab of lurid red stone. On closer inspection, you recognize it as a petrified wood of some kind. An inscription has been written on the base in front of the pyramid. Examine that. The inscription is in an alien language. It has been burned into the wood and then filled with a luminous substance. Though you know you haven't seen the language in your own short life as a cast-off, it still seems familiar. Let's see where we've seen that before. I really... How badly do I want this? Not badly enough to go down too much further. Nope. Can't figure it out. Let's touch the sphere. As you extend your hand toward the sphere, the thinner strands along the front side of the cage react toward the thicker frame edges, creating an opening large enough for the sphere to fit through. Okay. You pull the sphere out of the frame through the opening facing you, and it immediately begins to glow a scintillating blue. You pause a moment to make sure there are no other effects, then try to put it with the rest of your belongings. At some point during this motion, the sphere simply vanishes, only to reappear within the frame, once again a dull gray. Apparently, taking the sphere will not be quite so easy. Okay, we're going to leave that alone for now. There's so many things here, right? So many things. Okay. Let's continue wandering around here. These books are piled haphazardly on the floor. They reflect a dozen areas of inquiry, most of which are entirely unrelated to each other. Let's look at this thing. The glowing display shows a globe, the ninth world probably. Green lines depict trajectories that a ship could follow into the void between worlds. Excellent. Let's take a look at this thing, whatever it is. This desk is tidy and neat. A book entitled Ecology of the Biomechanical Hybrids is open to a sparse entry on the enigmatic Nycthemeron. Huh! I mean, that's the thing that they've got out in the square there. It's not going to actually let me read anything else about the Nycthemeron. It's just going to say that it's there, right? Okay. Okay, further down. Yeah, there's a thing here to interact with. This desk is cluttered with scrawled notes, piles of paper, and worn books. The owner was either extremely disorganized or left in a hurry. Allegren steps closer to the desk. He growls in frustration. Huh? Is this your desk? This is where Orth Fong usually works, but where is he? Let's take a look. Before you have a chance to examine the mess, Allegren leans forward and plucks a folded note from the top of a pile. Orth is a paranoid bastard. He writes all of his messages in code. Looks like this one is for me. He breaks the wax seal and scans the note. As he reads, his face grows tight with fury. Fong took my frame and left. He says it's not safe here. He wrote more about my tattoos, and he snaps his mouth shut. Never mind, he's not here. He glances toward the Yan priests. We can talk about it some other time. You wrestle through the mess of documents and notes. Most of them discuss the buildings and architecture of prior worlds. They're filled with drawings and descriptions of bizarre structures uncovered by scholars and explorers. The owner of the desk seems to have been particularly interested in doors, door frames, and archways. He has drawn circles around all such things, but his scrawled comments are never more revealing than similar but not a match. Or could there be a connection here? Huh. Okay. Anything else? Again, you scan the jumbled of books and documents, but you don't find anything new. Most of them describe the architecture of prior worlds. Anything resembling a door frames, circled in brightly colored ink. Also notice a few letters and personal correspondences. They appear to have been written in code, or perhaps in foreign script that isn't familiar to you. Okay. Okay, and this is the whole desk, yeah?
Yes. Now.
Yeah, it's basically, I don't think we're going to get anything else out of this. Okay. Wait, what's that? A mass of leathery flesh sags against the railing. Sharp probes are stuck into its skin, surrounded by festering sores that ooze a foul-smelling oil. Delightful. Snurf? Lanyering? The thin young man smiles hesitantly as you approach. You notice a small metallic ovoid protruding from his skull. nearly hidden by his disheveled hair. The fingers of his left hand tap nervously on his leg as he speaks. I'm not a real priest yet, he blurts, then blushes. If that's what you were thinking. Usually visitors only talk to me because they think I'm a priest, but I am still a novice. He plucks at a threadbare spot in his robes. What is that implant? It's not just on my forehead, he says. Not just the skin, I mean, it's bonded with my skull. He blinks at you a few times before he realizes he hasn't answered your question. It keeps me awake and alert. I don't get tired until it runs out of power. Oh, I need one of those. What powers it? Dreams, he says. The scarier ones, the better. I can't remember the last time I had a good dream, actually. I'm sure it's just coincidence, though. Blue Tide Ray. Yeah, that I'd be able to power that for a while. What's your area of study? What? He says, blinking, straightening. You want to know what I'm working on, or are you sure? Why is it particularly complicated? Absolutely! I'm designing an intelligence, he says, but not the normal kind, not just metal or with a dependent intelligence rigging system. No, it's larger than that, stronger. Len himself seems to be getting stronger, rising as he speaks. You hadn't noticed before, but he is actually taller than you. Oh dear. The idea is this: an intelligence that can find, test, identify, and fully understand Numenera. We can unlock the secrets of lost civilizations. His eyes are gleaming now, and he raises a trembling fist. Do you understand? If we do this, we can break the chains binding us to the past and turn them into reins with which to steer the future. I can't help but noticing that your plan is long on rhetoric and short on specifics. That seems useful. No one would get hurt testing Numenera or themselves anymore. Wouldn't having a machine test in Numenera take all the fun out of playing with them? Ha ha ha. Does seem useful. Oh, he says, dropping his righteous fist. Clearly this benefit has never occurred to him. Of course. The fervent gleam slowly fades from his eyes. It's only a theory, though, for now. Yeah. No megalomania there. Budding megalomaniac. I don't have the funding, not yet, but I've been studying machines with men when he can spare the time, and he likes my ideas, even if he thinks they're impossible. He looks away. I think he's disappointed I'm not a real Aeon priest yet. I should have the money by now. I was told they'd keep paying me, even after the first time. Ah, maybe he's the spy. Sounds like Min is being too kind to you. Don't you want to be one? Impossible seems harsh. Let's play him. Yeah, that's it. We're playing him. And inaccurate, he says, regaining some of his lost fervor. Once I'm an Aeon priest, everything will change. Only full Aeon priests have access to the Order's funds. I can use them to build a full prototype. Min might protest, but he'll understand once I get the design right. He licks his lips. They're dry, almost leathery. I just need to get it right, that's all. Wow. What do you need to do to become an Aeon priest? You have to make a major discovery, he says. A mystery that's remained unsolved for a long time. But I've spent too much time on my own research. He looks down at his feet. I haven't gotten anywhere. I'll tell you about something I've discovered. You can claim it as your own. I don't know if we want this person becoming an Aeon priest. Seems like he's just like a step, like just a Tesla coil away from becoming a mad scientist. That said, I mean, it's possible. You just got to be careful here. Do we want to tip that balance? Farewell. Not yet. Sniff? Slouched before you is a figure clad in a dusty, unremarkable robe. Loose folds of rough cloth shift to reveal a vaguely humanoid form with elongated facial features and two elaborate biomechanical arms. You can't help but notice the size, the shape, even the number of its digits changing as it tinkers with a bizarre-looking device on the table. It glances up at you, its eyes are the size of your palms. You realize it is a visitant, a being from another world. "Greetings, fellow sentient," it says, nodding with studied respect. "I will be with you in a moment." Its mechanical fingers contract and dance independently over the surface of the device before it, adjusting and tightening. "There, I am Snef, guest of the Order of Truth. What brings you to my workplace? My workspace." Didn't quite catch your name. How do you pronounce it again? "Ah," it says, "you're hearing a brief elision in my name, correct? A majority of the component syllables are untranslatable or beyond human ranges of hearing. I will try to approximate them." It draws a deep breath. Hang on. Okay. Snellanarga, with a brief poem about the ambient temperature of dust and moonlight here. Gontas, the word that describes a color similar to blue. Remelerf. It shrugs. "I prefer the name your people here. My name is all too common where I come from." "Tell me about yourself." "Your curiosity honors me," it says, inclining its head. "I came through the bloom from another world. To be absolutely honest, I was exiled for inadvertent sacrilege and perversion." "Oh, so maybe he's an ultra-terrestrial." "I would imagine that you are curious about my people's reproductive processes at this point," it adds placidly. "I would be happy to describe them." "I wasn't, but that sounds like an interesting topic." What? The more detail, the better. Okay. Sure. "It is," Snurf says brightly, "though it is far from the most esoteric method I have uncovered in my studies. It is rather a complicated topic, however, so let me know when you're ready to speak at length." Really? Really? "What's that device you're working on?" "A minor project of mine," it says with a deep self-deprecating wave. "Something to widen the boundaries of my research. It scans for unknown reproductive processes and displays them for further study." The device clicks to itself. "Ah," Snurf says. "Watch." A transparent image of two goat-headed humanoids appears over the device. At first, it seems they are wrestling each other. After a moment, you realize your mistake. Content warning. Issue a content warning now. Okay. Copulating Marga. Fascinating. Oh, Marga, yeah. The visitant begins taking careful angular notes in an unfamiliar language on the scroll beside the device. There's quite a lot of motion involved, isn't there? You're going to be rich. This device spies on creatures having sex. You should be ashamed of yourself. What sort of notes could you possibly be taking? There's a lot of blue tide for this character. Simply my first observations of the methods on display, the visitant says. Positioning, the setting, of course. One of the creatures utters a bleating shriek. And results, the visitant adds, making another nose. I can't talk anymore. And results, the visitant adds, making another note. Blue tide is raised a tiny amount. Where are you from again? Another world. I do miss it sometimes, but I cannot return, as I said. Those arms of yours are interesting. How do they function? I am not quite sure, it says, raising them for your inspection. Extra digits swirl out of the mechanical palms in a somewhat nauseating wave and disappear just as quickly. They seem to be as sentient as either of us, but obedient so long as I keep them busy. Otherwise they scramble about while I rest, touching things, picking locks, strangling the odd rodent, the visitant sighs. I've forced them to take up knitting. It's Doc Ock. Okay, let's head straight into the content warning again. Deprived of the layers of sociological complexity, the process is quite simple, the visitant says. At a certain age, my people ceremonially choose a limb for removal. The limb is grown into a new being. Children, in your terminology. It sighs. This is where matters get more complicated. The selected part relegates the child to a caste. Arm children become laborers, leg children become warriors, and head children, due to the sacrifice implied in their creation, become leaders. Whoa. It's actually very interesting. Sinerf studies its metal hands. As I have suggested, the limbs we surrender do not grow back. In fact, those who replace their limbs insult their children and sin against their people. This is where your biomechanical arms come in, I'd imagine. You are correct, it says, unfortunately. Wow. Oh, man, that's so sad. That's so sad. Okay. I surrendered my arms to create my children. It says, they grew to maturity and joined me in my study of various void-born Numenera. For a time we were happy. It lowers its eyes. Then I discovered a melted humanoid figurine. I did no more than glance at its folded arms before it opened its eyes. That is the last thing I remember. I awoke with the arms you see now, Sinerf sighs. My children, thinking I had disowned them, disowned me, and my people were even less merciful. Oh, man. I'm sorry that happened to you. It wasn't fair of you people to punish you for an accident. Good, you deserved it. I'm not sure it was, the visitant says carefully. My work was difficult at best when I lacked arms. Perhaps the artifact heard my frustration and sought to ease it. Snurf shakes its head. A moment's weakness can cost us so much. At least I have found other ways to take my mind off the loss of my family and my people. Huh. It was only when I began visiting other worlds that I learned that most species do not reproduce by severing their limbs, Sinerf said, shaking its head. The discovery fascinated me, and so I began cataloging the various methods of procreation found throughout the void. And it was only when I found my way to Sega's Cliffs by way of the Bloom that I was offered a place to work. Ah, okay. So probably not an ultra-terrestrial per se. Maybe. Here in the Order of Truth. And there you have it, the visitant said, folding its mechanical arms. Gain 2 XP. I'm wondering actually if the Bloom, it does talk, I mean, there's that map over there that talks about the entry and exit points, so the Bloom might involve actually just getting off planet. We will see. Sure. Tell me about these one of these reproductive processes you find so fascinating. Galerails. Though they are brutal creatures formed from organic and inorganic substances, they do share certain characteristics with my people. They do not have genders and reproduce by expelling an organic mass deep into the moist, fertile soil. The mass eventually grows into an autonomous being. The effect it has on nearby sentient life forms is truly fascinating. For the survivors, anyway. Tiber, you ever make it with an Evagene? Asks Tiber. I think you misunderstood, Snurf says severely. I don't engage in intercourse with the various creatures I study. I did once, Tiber continues airily as if Snurf hadn't replied. At least I think I did. Both of us were very drunk. Yes, let's talk about other reproductive processes. Flesh pups or skin swimmers are particularly interesting, if somewhat gruesome. The tiny parent painlessly invades a host organism who does not notice the parasite until a painful, rigid swelling appears on their torso or neck. Once the host is drained of nutrients, the boil bursts, releasing a glistening flood of newborn pups. Yes, I shall have nightmares about that tonight. Excellent. The Order of Truth will give workspace to anyone these days, Halligan mutters. Yes, tell us more. We need more details. Zeomarsh, also called rot blooms, fell their prey with venomous stingers and plant their fertilized eggs directly into the corpse. In a little more than a week, their children are born, thrusting up through the decaying, yielding flesh like flowers in bloom. Oh, good Lord. What else would you like to know? I'm just going to keep clicking on this. I can't stop myself. The human method is particularly fascinating and intricate. It trails off. Oh, I beg your pardon. Got carried away, did you? Please, do go on. Really? The visitant said, surprised. Is this your first time hearing about human sexual reproduction? Oh! Okay, yeah. Hey, folks, if you're watching this, we're gonna get into it. Assume it is. Go on, I'm listening. Because, it's a cast-off, in this life. Gladly, the visitant says, human sexual reproduction at the simplest level requires genetic material from all of the partners, which can range from 2 to 29. Things have evolved a bit, At the beginning of the ritual, the partners often remove their clothes, masks, and expensive shoes to reveal their flesh to the other members and any watching deities. Pardon me, but are you all right? Well, I'm listening. Go on. Oh, we got some red tide. Of course. As I was saying, once the clothing and accessories have been successfully discarded, intercourse can begin. With a mighty cry, the dominant participant exposes their abdomen, and all other members of the coital cluster prepare themselves for supreme pleasure. The visitant frowned. I have inadequate information on the next portion, but I am told that penetration occurs. My subjects were somewhat vague on what was penetrating what. I got XP for that. At any rate, once all the partners are satisfied, they conclude the sex act with a firm handshake. Oh my God. Snarf leans in. Between the two of us, I believe that most of that information was fabricated as a joke at my expense. Fortunately, I have been invited to observe a human mating ritual next week. I look forward to adjusting my data. I wonder if I am expected to wear expensive shoes as well. I shall make a note to ask. I have some boots of sorrow for you, if you would like them. Next week, Tiber says, perking up. I'm going to that one too. I'll keep an eye out for you. This is delightful. He hesitates, then grins. Unless I'm blindfolded, of course. You'll have to find some other way to let me know you're there. Find some other way to let me know you're there. I shall endeavor to do so, the visitant says politely, making a note on its pad. Oh, God. Oh, good Lord. Tiber, don't you ever stop. You're not talking about a tap on the shoulder, are you? Oh my God. These are gold. All of these. How do I get an invite for this ritual? You're not talking about a tap on the shoulder, are you? I have to ask. No idea, Tiber says cheerfully. Couldn't even tell you how I got invited to the first one, and that was months ago, but I'll try to whisper your name in the right ear at the, he winks, right time. Red tide raised a small amount. The visitant straightens. I am delighted to have assisted you in finding mating partners, it says calmly. Is there anything else you wish to discuss? I don't know. I mean, that was so much. I must decline at the moment. In truth, I find all of them fascinating. We could be here all day. Okay, we're good. I'm done now. I'm just curious what tide I'm on, because that was a roller coaster of colors. Still on blue tide. Okay, that's still dominant. Wow. Man. That's so much. I've learned so much from this conversation. I kind of have to recover from that. Oh my gosh. Okay, that was good. Okay. So, shall we talk to Min now? There's a lot of stuff to interact with there too. Okay. Okay. Don't know if I actually successfully muted myself there or not.
Yes.
Yes. Starting to feel a little under the weather here. Gonna save. So much truth. Okay, let's chat with Min. This priest is tall, thin, and dressed only in black. Narrow slashes of oil decorate his unlined skin like letters in an unknown tongue. His eyes are harried but alive with intelligent humor. They land on you with a tiny flicker of recognition. He's back. I wonder what brings him here now. No, he's not back. His gaze moves from you to Allegern and hardens. Oh, good, he says. No one's shouted at me for hours. I already said everything I need to, Allegern says, folding his arms. Anything else could be a waste of breath. What's going on here? You're looking at Min of Tan Liang, head puppet of the Order of Truth, Allegern says, jerking his head at Min. More interested in where the next shin is coming from than, say, doing any actual research. This may shock you, Min says, and it shouldn't, because we've had this talk before. But research into the Numenera takes time. Orth needs a quiet place to work, he needs food and a bed, and none of this is free. Min sweeps a hand through his dark hair. Like it or not, and I know you don't, the slave families demand cooperation for their shins. If we don't maintain the levy network, if we don't play their games, that funding goes away, and so does the Order of Truth. Oh, wow. It's a racket. Yeah, opened a can of worms here. Maybe that'd be for the best. Min ignores Allegern's snort of approval and turns to you. Maybe, he says, rubbing his forehead, smearing the grease stains there. You know, I used to have time for my own work. It wasn't always, he waves his hand vaguely, politics and dinners and polite requests. He gives Allegern a sharp look. You'll find the answers you're waiting for. I'm not asking for gratitude. I'm asking for patience. And with that, he turns his full attention to you. Indigo Tide. I recognize you, he says. It's been 10 years? I don't think we ever spoke. You were the one visiting Salimeri at the time, right? Working on some sort of organic machine technology? That's right. You're mistaken. I've never been here before. Oh, he says, frowning. Still his eyes linger on you, trying to remember where he's seen you before. What brings you to the Order of Truth? It's certainly him. Am I wrong? Or is there more going on than I'm aware of? It's the second one. Salimeri told me there's a spy. Menenian priest named Belizer? Where is Orthfang now? Can you tell me? There are so many things to ask about. Can you tell me about your work? Heh, he says, shaking his head. That's a big question, even on the best days. I specialize in mechanical Numenera, intelligent or not. But I haven't had much time for research since I started managing our branch of the Order. Can I ask you some questions about mechanical Numenera? I'd be incredibly grateful if you did, he says. Every other conversation I have revolves around how I'm ruining the Order, or not doing enough to save the Order. He rubs his forehead with the back of his calloused hand. Please, ask me about wires and blinking lights. Tell me about that machine behind you. It makes levies, the guardians of Sagus. Ah. He rubs his chin. Records say that Diviatiku found a similar device in the ruins of Archipelagia, far to the north. He convinced the city that a local version, a modified one, would be of use. This is a cool little setting here, little within Numenera. In order to become a citizen, everyone in Sagus Cliffs, even the ones born here, gives a year of their lives to the machine. It uses that borrowed time to create a levy. What if someone only has a year to live? Would they die immediately? No, he frowns. They never die in the machine, but it catches up with them a few days later. That doesn't happen very often. Sometimes I think the machine actually saves them, prevents them from meeting whatever fate was in store, but not always. Good lord. Yeah, so it's not actually a year of... It actually takes a year from your timeline. That's messed up. At any rate, the levies created by the machine are nearly identical. Oh, okay. And they only last a year. After that, they quietly return to the machine and dissolve into... His hands grip the air, trying to frame the words. Gray gunk. It's incredibly unpleasant to watch, but they don't seem to mind. They deserve more than a year of servitude. That's disgusting. Fascinating. Fascinating. It is, and nothing is wasted. We just use the same gunk for the next levy. He frowns. Good thing, too. I have no idea how to make more gunk. Anyway, that's the machine. Any other questions? Trying to repair a device known as a resonance chamber. Your what? Min gasps. I thought that thing was a myth. And you're trying to repair it? Where is it? Is that what he and Salamari were working on? I'd love to see that. I'd rather not say. He says, his mouth twisting. Probably wise. Anyway, do you have any piece of the machine with you? I have a shard of it. Take a look. He handles the shard with care. Organic and crystalline. It was grown into the appropriate shape for the machine. This is definitely what Salamari was working on all those years ago with her partner. He looks at you, his eyebrow raised, but does not say more. Reluctantly, he hands it back to you. It must be him, then. But why lie? I'll ask Salamari about it later. In all honesty, I focus more on traditionally powered machines. Salamari has some experience with organic machine construction. You might ask her about it. Haha, I have. Let's talk about something else. Happy to. What is it? Where is Orthon now? You found his note, didn't you? Maligan would know better than I would. Orth didn't tell any of us where he was going. What is the Order of Truth? Good question. He chews his lip for a moment, framing his words. We live on the surface of a vast labyrinth of layered ruins packed with relics and artifacts, windows into the past. Some people are content to find them, use them, and sell them. He grins, but not the Order of Truth, not the Aeon Priests. We want to understand the Numenera, study them, point at them, and argue about them. Now in the West, the Order of Truth is much bigger than this little enclave. It's a vast organization led by the Amber Pope. Out there, our words turn the heads of kings. He shrugs. Around here, we occasionally get discounts on equipment from local vendors and a free cup of tea. Not that I'm complaining. How did a chapter of the Order of Truth end up here? It was founded 300 years ago by a Vargellan nano named Diviatiku. That's his statue outside. He governed, or you could say ruled, the order with more force than you see in traditional chapters. He set us up in this spire, hand-picked new members, and chose them for particular projects of his design. We're not quite that organized these days, he says, shrugging. For better or worse. Leaders are chosen by consent of the other priests and priestesses, and they don't have a say in what everyone works on. They just deal with the politics and the paperwork so that everyone else can focus their ruinous side projects and hideously dangerous experiments. He flashes a grin, which is to say I'm the leader because I'm the only one who admits we need to eat. Ah, yes. Leadership is a lonely path. I wish that were true, he says. I'm rarely lonely. People visit me all the time, usually furious and waving their hands. He sighs. But someone has to deal with the world outside these walls. The slave families, I can't talk anymore. Here, drink. So much narration. The slave families, for some reason, aren't interested in funding wild, endless experimentation. They like results, especially weaponizable ones. So I review their requests, deflect the crazier ones, and convince my colleagues to work for a living occasionally. He nods at the nearby machine. We also create the levies that guard the city, though that's seen more as a responsibility than a favor these days. Needs to be they gotta get out from under the freaking slave families, man. Really? What are levies? Good to see the Segas make scholars live in the real world. Follow your own interests and the funding will follow. It's very idealistic. What are levies? Segas' version of a city watch. You may have seen them around. He plasters on a wide fake grin and points at it. They wear armor and look like this. You can't miss them. This is actually a tricky... See, this last one is actually kind of where I want to go with this, but I don't want it to sound mocking. That's the thing. I don't know what tone is going to be taken. Because what I would emphasize is it's a shame the Order has to earn its keep in this city. But the way it could be said is, oh, it's a shame the Order has to earn its keep in this city. So I don't know how they're going to interpret it. Oh, let's be slightly idealistic. I don't think I haven't considered it, he says with a grin. It's one of my many temptations. He scratches his head absently. What else do you want to know about the Order? Blue and Red Tide came up. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Are there a lot of... Yeah, priests. Let's talk about this. Min squints at you, then the ceiling. It's possible, he says at last. Diviatiku's behavior matches the stories I've heard about the changing god, but he hasn't exactly shown up here to pick up where he left off. He shrugs. If you're right, maybe he just lost interest. Are there a lot of Eon priests in Segas Cliffs? Yes, but they're not strictly here, he says. Some are out on digs or various expeditions. We only have a few Eon priests in the city right now. There's Salimeri, who I mentioned before. Belizar studies biomechanical life forms. Orthfong is an expert in inexplicable and malicious architecture and should be back soon. He pauses, taking his fingers and furrowing his brow. And Snerf, of course, a visitant who's developed an interest in all forms of reproduction. It isn't one of us, and I don't think it wants to be, but we gave it space to work on its projects. He leans in. Don't go over there unless you've invented a way to scrub your memory clean. But it was so awesome! Let's talk about something else. I met a neon priest named Belizer. Is he still there? Min seems genuinely surprised. I was hoping he'd given up, run off, and we'd never see him again. No, I don't really mean that. He coughs. Well, maybe a little. That boy has been obsessed with biomechanical monsters for as long as I've known him, and now a real one has fallen into his lap. He's trying to get himself a physical sample, I think. Tell you what, if you see him again, you can say that I sent you and give him a hand. That'll bring him around. And gods know he needs whatever help he can get. He's brilliant with the books. He shakes his head, but not much else. Should I say this, that there's a spy in the Order of Truth? Yes, let's say that. We think so, he says with an irritated glance at Salimeri, but not because we've seen people in dark cloaks creeping around. He lowers his voice, but not enough that the anger buried in it is completely hidden. We've lost dig sites to her thugs, maybe people too. We can't be sure because we never find any traces of them. He rubs his forehead with a stained hand. We'll catch the spy, only a matter of time. You sure want to? I don't know if this will be a different tree. The responsible answer is no, but no one needs me to sign anything right now, so yes, I do. Yeah, it's just the same thing. Something else. I think that could be it. Alright. Yeah, that'll be about it. Come back anytime. Alright. So, shall we interact with this machine? Let's look at this first. Can't see it. Let's get further up here. The light that shines from within this strong glass chamber has a cruel and clinical glow. Its doors are firmly sealed. Yeah, we don't want to go in there. The synth sarcophagus could hold a large human. Its surface is pitted, as if it survived a sandstorm and the original color has worn away.
All right.
Yeah, let's interact with this. Let's totally mess with it. This machine is a chaotic assemblage of metal tanks and tubing. A work table mounted with spare parts stands beside it, and it's connected by wires to an oddly familiar sarcophagus and other devices. Yep. Examine the machine. As it turns out, there is very little to examine. Every access point to the machine has been carefully sealed. Some of the hatches and panels are worn with use. They are likely accessed by the Order when they perform maintenance on the machine. Others are gleaming, ornate locks with twisted keyholes, unmarred by the scratches and nicks of careless everyday use. You run your hands across its surface and feel the ghost of another person's hands doing the same. Yep. Oh, man. We know what this does. So I'm just going to go here and, yeah. Not sure. Memories drift past like cobwebs, teasing the corners of your mind. They dissolve into dust as you grasp for them. Let's pick through the spare parts. You sort through the jumbled components on the table. There aren't many, nor are there any duplicates. These appear to be spare parts for the machine. Okay, leave the machine alone! Unless you want to examine it again in case something different happens. You wrap your knuckles experimentally on the side of the machine. The sound reverberates through the hollow space within, echoing and echoing into inaudible eternity. Do it again. The sound bounces around inside the hollow machine like a rock falling down an infinite well. Yeah, we're done with that, I think. Okay, leave the machine alone. All right.
Why not?
Why not, indeed? Okay. Not much longer before I must depart. So, let's see, which thing do we want to do? And this is a map of this place. Oh, it's more oval shaped, and at least when you're looking down on it from this side. This takes you out to Government Square. Got some decisions to make.
Here we go then.
Yeah. So much truth. Let's see. Let me just get my bearings out here real quick. Tidal surge conversation options allow you to channel psychic forces to influence the world around you, though sometimes at a cost. These are only unlocked after you find someone when the screen doesn't go up. Okay, so that goes down to the underbelly, but I think there's also a way to go down there from just below us. Yeah, we've got a few things to do here, potentially. Now, these secondary quests. Matkina is probably in the underbelly. I think we want to go down there last anyway, but let's see. Cliff's Edge is one place we're going to want to go. Book, we have no idea where that is. Stay of Execution. Try to free Riss, which is, I think, what we're furthest along with. Entering the anechoic lazaret. Yeah, getting down there is going to be interesting. There may be fighting involved there. Silmeri gave me a metallic eye that should serve as a key to open its door. The Sorrow's Prey. And that's also Underbelly. Underbelly, I think, is where a lot of things are going to come together. But I think we're going to go to explore a couple other places before we do that. So, couple things to explore. Couple things. I think that goes to Circus Minor. That goes to Caravanserai, which I've forgotten what that is and means. I was hoping we could travel by map. I want to explore a little bit more before we start messing with everything. Because that's how I do this. I just want to get into that that next screen so that I can look at the map there. And just sort of remember what's going on so that I can then further remember next week. Okay. And we check out the map. So that again goes to Underbelly. Goes back to Government Square. That goes to the Reef. That goes to Cliff's Edge. Huh. So why would we go to the Caravanserai? That's an interesting question. Because we don't have a reason to yet, but we could check it out if we want to. I'm trying to remember what all that means. Well, we'll remember soon. Soon enough. Soon enough. Okay. I think, though, we are good for now. Let me go ahead and save once more. Where next? Okay. So we shall go back to the main menu now. Are you sure? Yes. It'll be just fine. Everything will be just fine. Okay. And back to me. Okay. Well, yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying a lot of the just the detail, the richness of the detail in this game. It's madness. It's insane how much detail there is. And so that's really awesome. A lot more than one would expect from an RPG, a computer RPG. However, that probably is among the things that the original Torment was famous for, I'm thinking. So yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. I really want to keep delving here and see kind of what we run into. A couple more places to check out. I feel like I want to go to the Caravanserai just because I heard it somewhere, and I know there's something. There's something in the back of my mind. I've heard that about the Caravanserai before, and I need to go back and see where I heard about it, because that's... I don't even know if that was in this game that I heard about it. And this, you know, we'll see, we'll see. What do we have going on? Well, tomorrow morning, once again, more We Happy Few. Then on Sunday, doing tabletop RPGs, we're going to have here the second of our one-shots of Dirty Secrets, and so, which is, you know, tackles the noir genre, or the detective genre. So feel free to come check that out that evening, early evening, if you want to do that. This week, this coming week after this weekend, again, role-playing over on Off the Table Tuesday night in Urban Shadows, getting closer to the end of that series, so that'll be cool. Things are coming to a head there. So then 1 week from today, more of this, and we'll head probably, I think, to the Caravanserai, but you know, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. A couple different things to explore, because I do so enjoy it, just looking around and seeing what's there. This is a cool sort of area, and it's one is tempted to run a Numenera campaign in this area, which is why I'm also glad that they came out with a source book for it. It's an interesting thing. It's very interesting. But I think that will be all from me for now then. I hope all is well. Please take care, and I shall see you all of a sudden.